Chapter 4 discusses the concepts of ethics and social responsibility, or the lack thereof. And we've seen the lack thereof recently in many people and many corporations. Bernie Madoff, Enron, WorldCom, are just some of the examples that you might read about or have heard about in the past. And this many violations of ethics that have popped up recently have actually resulted in some changes. Some government regulations have changed the way corporate accounting is done, and many other things as a result of a lack of ethics with many corporations. One of the things that you'll read about in this chapter is the fact that ethics are kind of a gray area sometimes. It's not always the law. It's just a standard of behavior that's right or wrong. There might not be a law prohibiting something, but yet it still is going to be very wrong to do. As you might expect, ethics usually involve basic moral values, but there is also some differences between societies and cultures as to what really is accepted as right and wrong. In most cases, though, cheating, cowardice, and cruelty, things like that, are considered wrong, whereas honesty and self-control, self-sacrifice are considered right values. In addition to the 3 questions that the book gives you to ask when you're facing an ethical dilemma, the Rotary Club International also has a 4-way test that's also helpful. And the 4 questions on that 4-way test are: number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So when you're faced with an ethical dilemma, you do want to analyze it and ask yourself those kinds of questions. One of the biggest examples of ethics violations would be Enron. And if you get a chance, you might want to try to watch the documentary, The Smartest Guys in the Room. You can Google it, and it pops up at different places at different times. So you can probably find one with Spanish subtitles. But it actually shows you what went wrong with Enron and how the company itself promoted a culture of greed. And things that were not necessarily illegal but completely unethical were standard practices in this particular company. Very, very interesting documentary, The Smartest Guys in the Room. If you do get a chance to see that video, The Smartest Guys in the Room, it will actually show you that the corporate culture really determines what ethics are going to be practiced. And if the leaders of the company are unethical and they encourage unethical activities, well, that's exactly what you're going to see in the employees. So ethics need to start at the top. If you want to have ethical employees, then the company CEO on down must practice ethical behavior and not only model that, but also make corporate policies that make sure that happens. One way that companies ensure that there are no ethics violations is by incorporating codes of ethics or ethics codes. And these are written codes of acceptable ethical behavior. And it's kind of sad that companies have to have this, but a lot of people don't have the same moral compasses. And what one person might think of as not necessarily wrong might be considered by most of the members in that society as completely wrong. So ethics codes are helping companies make sure that everybody acts in an ethical manner. Most of you will have heard the name Martha Stewart and be familiar with her, and she actually went to prison for insider trading. Now, insider trading is not only unethical, it's also illegal. And what she actually did is she actually got a little bit of information about a company and decided to sell that stock before the general public found out. And because she was privy to that information, that was considered insider trading. So this was just a brief introduction to some of the topics that you'll encounter in this chapter. Make sure you read the chapter thoroughly, study it, learn the terms. Make sure you do take your chapter quiz and take a look at that syllabus. Make sure you do any other assignments that are due for this particular lesson.